Now, look, I do hope you both realize there is absolutely nothing personal in all this. Now, I love you both dearly, but I just cannot cope with two dogs whilst I'm trying to write my book. So, though it breaks my heart to tell you one of you has got to go... Oh, don't look like that, please. Look, it isn't as though you don't know this place. You both came from here. So which one of you would like to go back? Eh? Oh, you are making it so difficult. Well, there's only one way to decide. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. O-U-T spells out, so out you must go. Oh, dear. All right, then, look, both come in and you can make up your minds inside.
Did you see that? I counted those dogs about 30 times.
I think I should explain, Mrs. Webster, that our contact bureau is quite a different organization from the average escort agency.
Well, I was widowed 5 years ago, and I thought then that I would never want another man. But now...
I understand. Time, the great healer, has done his job, and now you want to have another go. Oh, that is, you're ready. We have on our books the most eligible gentleman, a Mr. Geoffrey Glover. He is a widower and has 2 daughters and a charming home near... Oh, that's strange. There's a note here to say that he's gone overseas for 6 months, but I'm sure that's a mistake. I'll just check.
Hello?
Oh, this is Contact Bureau. Is Mr. Glover there?
Well, not at the moment, I'm afraid.
But he is there. I mean, living there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you. Will you tell him a lady from the Bureau will be calling to see him? He'll understand. Goodbye.
What bureau did you say? Hello?
Oh, dear.
In. There we go. Andrew. In. That's it. All right, you won. I'll keep you both.
It's your car, sir.
Yes, officer.
This is a no standing area, sir.
Is it really? Oh, I do apologize. I'm a stranger to your country.
English?
Yes. How did you guess?
Your accent. Now, you're English, and our no standing signs are printed in English.
I haven't got an accent. You are the one with the accent. Pleasant, and I've understood nearly everything you've said. But you are the one with the accent. I have none. Now, I apologize for my parking misdemeanor, but as I say, I am a stranger to your country. It won't occur again. Good morning, officer. Yes, well, I couldn't do it, could I? When I handed over AC, GK cried. When I handed over GK, AC cried. That made me cry, so I brought them both home. Anyway, I love them curled up beside me on the sofa.
Do you?
You look as though you're going to cry. What's the matter?
It's Bruce.
Well, what about him?
I love him curled up beside me on the sofa.
Oh, now, look, we've been through all this before.
Morning, Uncle Patrick.
Good morning, Susan. Now...
Listen, Ken wants to take me to a pop concert tonight, and the boys can't get there till 10. Yeah. And
Listen, girls, don't you realize that there are more important things in life besides chasing after boys?
Name one.
Well...
Your coffee, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you, Nanny. Now, you must excuse me, girls, because I must get on with my book. Nanny, I'm worried about those 2 girls.
Oh, don't worry, I had Mr. Patrick. I'm sure their hearts are in the right place.
Well, that's the trouble. Everything's in the right place. They are never off the phone to those 2 boys.
The phone? Oh, Mr. Patrick, I am sorry. There was a phone call for you just before you came in from a bureau.
A press bureau?
Yes, it might have been. They said that a lady was calling to see you and that you would understand.
That'll be a reporter, Nanny. Yeah, I thought it was about time I had some publicity. Yes, thank you, Nanny. Now, look, I have had 2 absolutely splendid ideas for Chapter 3 of my book.
What are you going to call it?
Slaughter in Sydney.
Slaughter in Sydney? Butte.
What? Now, the murder weapon, Nanny, what do you think that might be?
A dart dipped in the venom of an African snake.
Oh, that's child's play.
Dissolving the body in a bath of hydrochloric acid.
On Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Oh, that ought to do somebody a nasty lot of damage.
Well, that's the whole point of murder, Nanny. Come with me, I'll show you. This way, Nanny. Now then, the victim is lounging unsuspectedly by the pool. You be him. No, lounge, Nanny. That's it. Now, the assailant creeps up unseen from behind and strikes the fateful blows. Now then, Nanny, where do I hide the murder weapon?
Hideously bloodstained.
Hideously, dripping.
I give up.
I simply slip it into the pool. The blood will hardly stain the water, and the weapon, being made of glass, will lie at the bottom of the pool, totally invisible.
Oh, well done, Mr. Patrick.
That's my fault. Come inside, Nanny.
B25, B25.
B25.
Hey, Mrs. Spaulding reports an unusual incident in the rear garden of number 3 Mossman Street.
How unusual?
A man made some threatening gestures with a weapon at an elderly lady.
So what's unusual? It might have been his mother-in-law.
The elderly lady seemed to enjoy it.
Yes, that is unusual. We'll check it out.
Now, this other man, Nanny, is tied up in the boot of a car and then going to be thrown over Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Simply splendid.
Now, the maximum time for holding one's breath underwater is 4 minutes. So that is the time I've got to get out of these knots.
I'm going to tell Uncle Patrick that we asked Daddy for permission to stay out late tonight. But Daddy said no. Well, I won't tell him that bit.
There. Is that tight enough, Mr. Patrick?
Are my hands going white at the wrists?
Oh, no, Mr. Patrick.
Then tighter, Nanny.
He's a rope freak. Don't you watch any more?
Excuse me. We had a report that a man at this address was doing something unusual to an elderly lady.
Well, things have changed now.
Pardon?
Now an elderly lady's doing something unusual to the man.
Where?
Did I hear a man's voice?
Police, madam, are you all right?
Oh, quite all right, thank you. But how kind of you to inquire.
No problem.
None at all.
Hello, what's this? Oh, it's the gentleman without the accent.
Well. What a coincidence. Would you untie me, please?
Well, I'm sorry to disturb your mid-morning pastimes, but we had a report from a lady across the road about a fight by your pool.
Fight? No. Just some good, clean fun with a piece of broken glass.
A piece of broken glass. Oh, well, that does come as something of a relief to me, sir.
You see, I was demonstrating to Nanny.
Nanny?
Yes, that's my Nanny.
Your Nanny. Hello, Nanny.
You see, I have discovered that if you slip a blood-stained glass dagger into a swimming pool, it remains totally undetectable.
Most picturesque, sir.
Well, that's what I thought, yes.
I'm just going to make some coffee.
Not for me, thank you, Nanny. If you'll excuse me, good morning, sir.
Look, if that is your boyfriend, Bruce, tell him he can play with his bongos elsewhere.
Oh, hello.
Mr. Glover?
Is it important? He's rather busy at the moment.
It's a personal matter.
Oh, I'll get him. There's a lady here to see you on a personal matter. We won't stay. No, we want to have a little chat about clean living.
Mr. Glover?
Yes?
My name is Hermione Webster. I think you're expecting me.
Oh, yes, of course. Would you care for some coffee?
Oh, thank you.
Do please sit down.
Thank you.
Nanny, it will be coffee for two.
Certainly, Mr. Patrick.
It's the lady from the bureau.
I hope you
don't mind my calling on you direct like this, but the Bureau looked upon it as a sort of shortcut to our introduction.
How wise, Miss...
Mrs. Webster.
Oh.
I'm bereaved.
Oh, dear.
The Bureau thought that if I saw you in the house, I could get an idea of your way of life, the way you like things in your own surroundings. The man within the man, so to speak.
I see. You want to find out what I'm like underneath.
Well, not straight away, of course.
More let one thing lead to another, so to speak.
I suppose you could put it that way.
Yeah. So, let's dispense with any further formalities and get right down to it. Now, first of all, would you like to take anything down?
I beg your pardon?
Or do you have a tape recorder?
Tape recorder?
Yes, some people like to tape the whole proceedings and then play it back to themselves afterwards.
No,
I see. You have a good memory, clever lady. I wonder, would you like to know some of the difficulties I have before I go into action?
Well, if it will make you feel any easier, Mr.
Well, you see, one of my main problems is how to deal with the victim once in my grasp.
Deal with?
Yes. I mean, shall it be ropes, whips, chains?
Chains?
Yeah. So, to simplify things, I make a synopsis of what I am going to do.
Synopsis?
Yes, yes. Now, I write out a detailed description of all the positions I'm going to get myself into. And then I gird my loins and bash right into it.
Mr. Glover.
You probably think that I must have a pretty diabolical mind to think up such weird plots. But I find it great fun. And so does Nanny. Yes, she often lends a helping hand. And sometimes she comes up with some very interesting suggestions.
I can't believe it.
And then, bless her, when she thinks I'm exhausted, she goes off and makes a nice pot of tea and then sits down beside me until I'm ready for another go.
Mr. Glover, I'm here to tell you that I have never come across anyone like you in the whole of my life.
How very flattering.
I'm going to see to it that your name is plastered across every newspaper in this country.
My dear lady, that's very kind of you.
You are a monster.
I beg your
A
pardon.
tyrant, a fork-tongued, double-headed hydra. I shall complain to the Bureau and have you struck off the list. I shall inform the police. I shall write to the Festival of Light. I shall report you to the church. I may even get on to the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister?
I shall have you hounded through every state in Australia. By the time I've finished with you, you will regret the day your poor mother ever put breath into your despicable body. You, Mr. Glover, should be doctored.
Uncle Patrick, whatever were you doing?
Nothing, girls. Absolutely nothing.
What did she mean by you ought to be doctored?
Doctored is an expression used in the literary world for taking care of, looking after.
Well, that's not what the vet told Bruce when he took his cat to him the other day.
Yes, well, it's different with animals. Now, look, will you run along, please? I'm very busy.
Oh. Well, looks like it's going to keep fine for that concert we can't go to.
I'm sorry to have been so long with the coffee, Mr. Patrick, but my percolator wouldn't perk. I see the lady's gone.
Yeah, she's gone, Nanny. And a very strange lady she was, too.
I've remembered now which bureau she came from. It was called the Contact Bureau.
Contact Bureau?
Yes. Elizabeth was telling me that your brother was beginning to feel he'd like to be married again. And he was wondering if the Contact Bureau might find someone suitable.
Oh, good grief. What will Elizabeth and Susan be thinking of me? At the least, they'll be imagining that I made some sort of improper suggestion to that woman.
Oh, surely not, Mr. Patrick.
Those two girls could find a sexual connotation in a bowl of fruit. You don't suppose they might forget the incident if I allowed them to go to their pop concert this evening?
I think it might wipe their memories completely clean.
Oh, splendid. You tell them. Now, look, Nanny, we must get on with my ideas for Chapter 3. Well done, Nanny.
Nice and uncomfortable, Mr. Patrick.
Most unpleasant, thank you. Now, I am at the bottom of Sydney Harbour, and I've got 4 minutes to get out of these knots.
Oh, this is going to be a difficult one, Mr. Patrick. I've mixed the knots I used on Black Mario in Bloodshed in Belgravia with some of the tricks of Nick the Greek.
Oh, splendid! Don't forget the gag, will you?
Oh, right you are. Now, you've just got 4 minutes. Now, it's 10 minutes past 12. I'll just go and see to the lunch.
How's Attila the Hun? Still campaigning?
Oh, now, you mustn't be unkind about your uncle. It's naughty. Besides, he just told me that he thinks it would be very nice if you both go to your pop concert tonight.
Great! Let's go and thank him, sir.
I shouldn't just now. He's rather tied up at the moment. Oh, dear, I've just remembered we're right out of olive oil. Now, how am I going to make a salad dressing?
Well, let's duck down to the shops. We'll drive you.
Will you really? Oh, that is kind of you, dear.
That's him. That's the beast.
Who are you? You're not Mr. Glover.
Not Mr. Glover. Then you're an imposter as well as a rapist.
I remember Geoffrey Glover well. He was a much younger man.
Be quiet. Mrs. Reese, the police.
How could I forget Mr. Patrick? I've been tying him up since death in Dungeness. I said be quiet. Mr. Patrick! What's happening?
That's the lady who was here before.
Well, who are you?
Mrs. Reese, Contact Bureau.
Good grief, he's got another one.
I beg your pardon.
He's having a busy day today.
Girls, will you kindly leave the room?
Oh, Mr. Patrick, I am sorry. Still, it's not as bad as the time I went to the cinema and left you hanging upside down over a smoking fire.
Where is Mr. Glover?
Oh, this is Mr. Glover.
I am Geoffrey's brother, if it's of any interest to you.
Oh, good heavens. I'm so sorry. There's been a terrible misunderstanding.
There certainly has, and here he comes.
Precisely what's going on here?
Oh, don't worry, officer. It's quite simple.
Oh, that would surprise me.
You see, earlier today I sent Mrs. Webster here round to see Mr. Glover because they both wanted...
Girls, will you kindly leave the room?
This man, officer, is a fiend. The devil incarnate.
Oh, just a minute. Now, you reported that you found this man tied up.
Yes, I did that.
You tied him up.
Yes, and then the olive oil put him right out of my mind.
If you would only let me...
I'll hear the lady out. Thank you, sir. Is this the first time you've tied this gentleman up, Mrs.?
Oh, no, I've done it many times. I've tied him to a bed, locked him in a wardrobe, and shut him in the boot of a car.
It's the way we work things out together.
I think I'm going to faint.
Now, you listen to me. Whatever kinky tricks you two get up to amongst yourselves is none of my business.
Kinky? But how funny you should mention that, officer. Do you know, at the end of Chapter 3...
Stop. Don't tell me. Tell Nanny.
Mr. Patrick, I am so sorry.
Oh, that's all right, Nanny. All Australians think the English are mad. Simply because they live in England.
Well, I'll go and get the lunch.
No,
then.
I don't want any lunch. Thank you very much, Nanny. I just want to be allowed to get on with my work. Now, look, you take those two girls down to the beach and leave me here in peace and quiet.
But your poor tummy must
Nanny, please.
Very well, Mr. Patrick. Girls, we're going down to the beach and we're going to have a picnic.
Oh, with Uncle Patrick?
No, he's staying here.
Why? Is there another lady arriving?
Really? The day began as usual for John Masters. Music blared from the radio of his Chevrolet as it sped across Sydney Harbour Bridge. The water glittering blue beneath it. The Opera House blindingly reflecting the November sun. Little did he know. How could he possibly realize that...
You won't get up. Ropes, Charlie.
Don't need him, he's got his own.
Upstairs. Check all the small stuff.
Right.
And I'll rope him up. Who's tied up? Glover? Listen, you tell him to play his little games on his own, will you? Or I might just come down and check on his dog license.